بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا ونفعنا بما تعلمنا وزدنا من فضلك علما وتعليما إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة هيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So today we're going to continue with Surah Raad, and I'm going to actually start again with the translation of it because we went last week, we did some of the verses in depth. So today I will start from the beginning, and the ones that we already explained, I'm going to just go over them inshallah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So Al-Ra'ad means thunder. So this is a Medinan surah, and it's after Surah Yusuf. So it's the 13th surah of the Quran, and it's the theme is the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's talking about Allah's signs in nature. So this is a very important theme that runs through the whole Quran actually. It is uh, that if you want to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it's not possible for us to see Allah in this world, as we all know. And we are we cannot see Allah. Um, we cannot even imagine Allah because we haven't been given a description of Allah. And so when we want to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have to look around at his artistry, at what he has created. Because the example is that, like, if you want to know the artist, or when you see an art, then you wonder at who made this, right? So it gives you a very good indication of the artist. So in the same way, when we want to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then and we want to experience him, then we have to look in nature. And so this surah, as well as the few coming afterwards, which will reveal consecutively one after the other, they talk about the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're very beautiful surahs to read because you get to see a lot of nature and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala relates to it and how Allah wants us to relate to it. Now, another thing that we learned in this surah was that Allah knows everything and the whole universe praises him. So we talked about this last week, how the whole universe is praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the birds to the trees to the ocean, the fish in the ocean. They make dua for people, the flowers, everything that grows, the mountains, everything is praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And um, we just have to get in tune with nature, and this is why we also feel at peace when we are with nature. This is why when we're in our fitra state, that means our natural state of being in this world, then we feel peace because we come into, we get in tune with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation. And those who have eyes can see the truth. And when we, when we look at the nature, we can see that this is only Allah who could have made all of this. And the truth, when we see the truth, it has an abiding power. That means that when that truth enters our hearts and our minds and our souls, then this is very, very powerful. And this is what makes us strong in the world. Right? And another theme that this surah deals with is the faithful and the unfaithful, their characters and their ends, what happens to them in the end. And then the famous verse, which we talked about last week as well, that the comfort of the hearts is in the remembrance of Allah. So we cannot find any comfort in this world. People look for comfort in all kinds of places. We will look for comfort in our jobs, in our families, in our friends, sometimes in substances. That's why people abuse substances. Sometimes even in food, all kinds of things. People will look for comfort of the hearts, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that we won't find any comfort until we remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's where comfort is going to come from. And this is, for us, this is, it's easy for us to understand this if we think about, our hearts have an invisible connection with Allah. There's a string attached, and that's a string of our soul, which is in the hereafter. So when we do things, so if you can imagine this string, right, that's coming out of you and is going into the hereafter, right, into the unseen where you can't see anything. But every time you do something for the hereafter, for example, you pray salah, you do dhikr, or you read Quran, then you are strengthening that connection. So you are that connection that you have, you are strengthening that connection. And if you make it very weak, if it becomes very weak, then the hearts, they get very weak and they almost on the deathbed, they're dying without the remembrance of Allah. And this is when people will experience depression in the world and sadness and terrible, terrible feelings of aloneness, and even suicidal thoughts. So these are sicknesses of the heart, and in order to get to come out of them, you have to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us in this surah as well. And then the overall theme, there's a theme that's running through the whole surah, is that people in the past, they denied Allah's prophets and they laughed at them. But what was their end? Now, because this Quran came down to our Prophet Muhammad and everything that he was going through, and we are going through subsequently, every generation has gone through, and even before the Prophet what they went through, that they denied the prophets. I mean, this is a theme that's been running through humanity, that we will deny the truth. And so in this surah, we will talk about that as well. And Prophet Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. And who is the witness to that? Allah is the witness to that. And all those people who have the knowledge of the scriptures of Allah are the witness to that. So these are the general themes of this surah. And I'm going to read through the translation of it because I want to kind of do the whole surah in one go so we can get a whole snapshot of it, inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So it starts with Alif Lam Mim Ra, which is the Hurufe Muqatta'at. We've done this before. These are the verses of the book. Whatever has been revealed to you from your Lord is the truth, but most people do not believe. It is Allah who raised the skies without any pillar that you see, then rose to the throne and subjugated the sun and the moon. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised the skies without any pillar, and then Allah rose to the throne. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came on the throne and subjugated the sun and the moon. So the moon and the sun and the moon are subjugated to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these things from the beginning, they are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, Allah made the skies and He made the sun and the moon, and all of these things, they run on their appointed time and they are praising Allah. They are in worship of Allah. Right? So from the very beginning of the surah, Allah is telling us that they are in worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Each runs to its appointed term, and He plans affairs and explains the signs in detail, so that you may be convinced of meeting your Lord, right? So He plans affairs and explains the signs in detail, so that you can be convinced of meeting your Lord. Verse 3, it is He who spread the earth and placed mountains and rivers in it. Now again, these are all signs of Allah that we can contemplate on. So what has Allah mentioned so far? The skies, the sun and the moon, and in verse 3 is mentioning He spread the earth. Right, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spread the earth and He placed mountains and rivers in it. And in these, there are great signs for us. Then He creates pears from every type of fruit. So we see that the fruits have pears and covers the day with the night. So the day and the night, they follow each other. So the day gets covered with the night. And indeed, there are signs in this for those people who ponder. So when we, in order to live happily in this world, is it to live in tandem with nature. There's a big comeback. Everybody's trying to get back to this. Not everybody, but people are realizing that and waking up to this, that when you live with the natural cycles of the world, when you live with night and day, night is to sleep. So after you pray your Isha, you go to sleep, you wake up early. So when you live within these cycles, and you will see that there are signs in it for people who ponder, and you will live a healthy lifestyle, because Allah SWT has already shown us how to live healthy on this earth. So on the earth there are neighboring tracts of land. So then Allah SWT says that He didn't just make it the land, He didn't just spread the earth out and put mountains on it, but He also put neighboring tracts of land. And He puts in there orchards of grapes, plantations, and date palms. Right? So He put all of these things for our benefit, because these are food and nutrition for us. Some of which intermingle while others do not intermingle. I mean, some we have put them together and some they don't intermingle. All are irrigated by one water, and we accord distinction to one over the other. That means Allah SWT irrigates all of these things Allah has put in the world, like the date palms um, and the grapes. All are fed with one water, and yet when they grow, their tastes are so different, their textures are so different, their nutritional information is so different. They go into your body and act so different. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is all from Allah's power, right? This is Allah's power, because the water is the same. The water, if you put it into the apple tree, or you put it into the grapevine, it's the same water, but you're going to get different results. Subhanallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling us to recognize His power. Verily, in this are signs for those who understand. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says there are signs for those who understand. So in these verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us that He revealed the book for us, and yet most people don't believe. And they don't believe in the book because they don't believe in Allah. And so Allah is saying, well, it is Allah who has made this earth that you're living in, right? This magnificent sky that you're living under. Yeah, amazing sky which doesn't have any pillars. And then it's got under the sky, we living under the skies, but beyond that is the sun and the moon. And each one affects us right the way down to the earth, right? The sun and the moon, they affect everything, every atom of our living on this earth. And if they didn't work on their appointed times, right, even if the sun was slower by an hour, let's say an hour, and that's very generous, but if it was, the whole world would freeze up. Yeah, it could freeze up. We wouldn't get any plants, we wouldn't get anything to eat. So this is the precision with which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set everything. And it works with clockwork. Why? Because it's all worshipping Allah and is subject to the terms of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? And so then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that He spread the earth and He placed mountains on it and rivers in it. And everything has its appointed job. So the rivers, they do their job. The mountains, they do their job. And everything is in communion, right? Everything communes with each other, because everything has to know what it's doing, but it's also working in tandem with other things. Right? And this is how Allah SWT made the day and the night. And indeed, it is a sign for those people who ponder. So then Allah saying, He's ending those verses and He's saying that these are signs for people who understand. Right, verse 5, if you are astonished, then their statement is also astonishing, that when we become sand, will we be created anew. These are the ones who disbelieve in their Lord. They are the ones who shall have yokes upon their necks, and they shall be the inmates of hell, where they shall abide forever. They seek to hasten the evil from the good before the good, whereas the incidents of punishment have passed before them. Indeed, your Lord is forgiving towards His bondsmen despite their oppression, and indeed your Lord is severe in punishment. The disbelievers say, why is some sign not revealed to him from his Lord? You are but a warner, and every nation has a guide. So if you are astonished, then their statement is also astonishing, right? Their statement that how will we be created again? How will Allah make us again once we have become sand? That means when we have died, then how will Allah recreate us? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that should not, that shouldn't surprise you, because This is the way of the disbelievers, that they deny their Lord and they deny resurrection. But then he's saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that they have the yokes upon their necks and they shall be the inmates of the hellfire. So he's pointing out the punishment, that Allah is severe in punishment. And then the disbelievers say, why is some sign not revealed to him from his Lord? You are but a warner, and every nation has a guide. So they're asking for, they're saying that they wanted some signs, right? And it's coming up what they were asking for. So they basically they were just looking for all kinds of excuses to falsify the Prophet ﷺ and his claim against prophethood. So they said they wouldn't accept the Prophet unless he performed the miracles that they demanded. That means the miracles that they were asking for, they wanted those. Like their miracles were things like move all the mountains out of Mecca so that we can have more space in Mecca, right? These are the types of things they were asking for. So verse 8, Allahu Ya'lamu. Allah knows what every female bears and the shortages and excesses in the womb. Everything is perfectly stipulated with him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what every female bears, that means what every female pregnancy is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that, and He knows the shortages and excesses in the womb. Everything is perfectly stipulated with him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows all the nutrition that goes in, what the child is getting, what the child doesn't get. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything. And we might say here that, well, with today's technology, we can tell whether it's a male or a female, and we can detect so many sicknesses and diseases, but we always fall short, right? We always fall short. And science is as great as it is, and as great as, the service that is giving to us, but we always learning new things. We are always learning, science has its limitations, and there's always new frontiers to cross in that too. So Allah is, verse 9, it says, He is the knower of the unseen and the seen. He is the great, the lofty. Whoever whispers, speaks loudly, is hidden in the night, or is walking in the day, they are all alike. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala this verse is telling us that Allah knows everything, the seen and the unseen. And He is the great, the lofty. Now, when we know that about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah is the great and He's the lofty, right? Allah is Kabir, is the great, right? And He is Alimul Ghaib wa Shahada. He knows the seen and the unseen. So when we know this, then we should be secure in that knowledge. When things happen, when we are tested, or when we have anxiety, we should remember this, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything, right? Allah is the one who knows everything, and He is in charge, right? So when we grow our iman, our faith, you see that this is a very big thing. It's a very big blessing to grow your faith, because it will help us in calming our fears, right? Most of us, we either living in the past or we're living in the future. So anxiety is about the future because we're worried about this or that. And depression is about the past because we can't get over what happened, right? Or we can't accept it. So most people are, to varying degrees, are living in these two stages. They're either living in the future or they're living in the past. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we know everything that what we do about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we should be very happy to live in the moment, right? Living in the moment. And so this is a very important, when we read the praises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we should pause there and we should think about this, that Allah is like this, and He's like this, and He's like this, and He has this power, and He has that power. So when we will internalize this, then we will be able to understand that whose servants are we? When we understand whose servants are we, whose slaves are we, if we understand this, then we will be, we will walk with confidence on this earth, and we will be able to live in the moment. And living in the moment means accepting whatever is happening right now and not thinking too much ahead, because when we think too much ahead, this is anxiety. When we're thinking too much ahead and we're worrying about the future, then it robs us of the present. We can't enjoy what is here right now. All the blessings that we have right now, we can't enjoy them. We can't enjoy our salah. Our heart is not in that salah because we're thinking too much about the future. So this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that whoever whispers, speaks loudly, is hidden in the night or is walking in the day, they are all alike. That means if you say something aloud or if you hide it and you say it, only your heart whispers it, only your heart knows it. But it's all alike for Allah because Allah will know it. So Allah knows everything. And for everyone there are angels before him and following behind him, protecting him from Allah's order. So undoubtedly, Allah does not change the conditions of a nation until they change a condition within themselves. So the first verse is that there are angels before us and behind us, and these are the hufadah, the angels that change shifts, morning and evening, and they are here to protect us. So whether we're in our homes or we're going out, we have angels that protect us all the time. Like two angels, one in front and one behind us. And these angels, so this is the verse that tells us that these angels are protecting us. So why would we be afraid when we know that we are walking with angels? SubhanAllah. But we have to, uh, again, we have to be able to understand that and we have to internalize it that the angels are surrounding us all the time. And the next verse says, undoubtedly Allah does not change the condition of a nation until they change the conditions within themselves. So this is a very important verse that we have to change our own condition if we want our condition to be changed. That means if we are expecting Allah and we're praying to Allah and He change our condition, then we have to be changing our own condition. So it can't be wishful thinking. We can't sit there and just say, oh, I wish this would happen. I want to see these changes. And we don't do anything about it. Or even if we're just praying about it and we don't do anything about it. So there has to be a third level, which is beyond wishful thinking and praying, and you are actually being proactive about it. Even if it's something as simple as writing down your intentions. That this is what I intend to do. And every day working a little bit on it, 5-10 minutes, looking at your intentions and saying, what can I do today to make this happen? What can I put in place? And you'll see when you start putting your mind to it, then ideas will start coming and things will start opening up for you. So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, that Allah will not change the condition of a nation until they change their own condition. When Allah intends evil to befall a nation, there is none to avert it. You will have no helper besides Allah. Right? So in these verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declares His complete knowledge. And He starts by telling us about the condition of the pregnant woman, right? That Allah knows everything. And then He tells us about the things which are seen and unseen. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what is seen and what is unseen. And even if we were to hide it and whisper it and it's only in our heart, even then Allah will know it. Then Allah tells us about the angels that protect us, right? So these angels protect us. And then in Ruhul Ma'ani, reports from Ali radiallahu ta'ala that Allah has appointed angels to protect people from all sides. They ensure that no physical harm befalls people. So, however, when Allah's predestined matters are about to occur, only then do they leave the person. That means if you're meant to get into an accident, and it's already written that it's going to happen, then the angels will move away, right? Because it's been preordained. Otherwise, the angels are with us all of the time. Right, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not change the conditions of a nation until they change themselves. So we talked about this, that it's so important that we have to be the change which we want to see, right? We have to individually, collectively, right? And as a nation, if we are wishing for something, like as an ummah, if we are wishing for something, then we have to be that change. And everybody, it's very easy for us to talk, and it's very easy for us to, chant certain things, or it's very easy for us to say that, oh, this should happen and that should happen. But we have to be this verse tells us that we have to be the doers, right? More than the talk, we have to be the ones who are walking the walk. That's important. So this verse is indicating that to us. Right, verse 12. Allah is the one who shows you the lightning that you fear and have hopes in. He is the one who creates the heavy clouds. Ra'd praises him together with glorifying him, and the angels also do so out of their fear for him. Allah sends the bolts of lightning to strike whomsoever He wills whilst they are disputing regarding Allah. Allah is fiercely powerful. So we talked about this in detail, but this is where Ra'd, the verse, the surah gets its name from. And so there was, right, it's Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas anhu said that a Jew once asked the Holy Prophet ﷺ, O Abu Qasim, tell us what is Ra'ad. The Holy Prophet ﷺ replied, Ra'ad is an angel of Allah who has been appointed to see to the clouds. So it's an angel, right? And his job is to see to the clouds, to move the clouds where they need to go so that the rain can come there. He has with him a cleaving instrument made of fire with which he pulls the clouds according to Allah's orders. The Jew then asked, what are the sounds that I heard? The Holy Prophet replied that they are the sounds of the clouds being rebuked by Ra'ad while he leads them to their destination. So this is where this surah gets its name from, the thunder. And we're told that from this hadith that the Ra'ad is actually an angel who is appointed to move those clouds in the sky. So when those clouds are moving, that's where we get the sound of the thunder, because they're moving, they're being moved. You can imagine it almost like with a whip that, or a cleaving instrument that of fire, which moves the clouds. So when they're moving, that sound comes. And um, Allah sends the bolts of lightning to strike whomever He wills while they are disputing regarding Allah. Allah is fiercely powerful. So lightning can come, and you know that lightning can kill, it can destroy. So the story is told that one day Prophet ﷺ once sent one of the Sahaba as a convoy to with the message of Islam to one of the leaders during the period of ignorance. The person retorted, what is this Allah that you call to me? Is He made of iron, copper, silver, or gold? So the Sahaba returned to the Prophet ﷺ with the news of this person's insolence. And this is what he's saying. I'm calling him to Allah, but this is what he's saying. The Prophet ﷺ again sent someone to him. He behaved in the same way. And when the Sahaba returned the second time, then the Prophet ﷺ sent a message again the third time. So when the Sahaba returned the third time with the same reply, the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah has sent a bolt of lightning to incinerate the person. And then this verse was then revealed. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first told the Prophet ﷺ that we have incinerated, that means we have destroyed this person with a bolt of lightning for his insolence. And then this verse, which we just read, that was revealed. So this is where the story of the thunder is mentioned in the Quran. And as we know, the rains are very beneficial. So when the thunder is heard, and it says some people become scared of it and some are hopeful for it. So those people who are scared are people who are traveling or who are out and about, and they think they haven't reached home, and they think, oh, the storm is coming. And then the people who are hopeful are people like the farmers who want the beneficial rains so that their crops will grow. And right now, if you look, if you're living where there's summer right now, then you'll see that there's how when it rains and you can go and look outside and things have grown by inches. Yeah, first it grows so slowly when it's cold, and then suddenly when it gets hot and the rains come, then all the crops start growing so abundantly and so beautifully. And this is a miracle of the rain that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again is pointing us to His creation, that look at His creation. How can there not be a creator? Right. Verse 14, the true call is only for Him. Those who call to others besides him, they do not respond to their pleas at all, except like the person who stretches out his hands towards water so that it may reach his mouth, whereas it will never reach. I mean, it's the person who, um, a person who wants water and he puts his hands out expecting it to go in his mouth. That's wishful thinking. The call of the disbelievers is wasted. To Allah does all within the heavens and the earth prostrate willingly or under duress, as well as their shadows by morning and evening. And this is the verse of Sajda, which from the 14 sajdas of the Quran, which says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything in the heavens and the earth, it prostrates to Allah, willingly or under duress, as well as their shadows by morning and evening. And shadows is mentioned because in the morning and evening you can see the shadows of things. So everything, even their shadows, are doing sajda to Allah. So why wouldn't humans do sajda? 16. Say, who is the Lord of the heavens and the earth? Say, Allah. Say, do you then take allies besides Allah who have no ability to help nor harm themselves? Say, is he who sees equal to the blind, or is the multitudes of darkness equal to light? Or do they ascribe such partners to Allah who create like He creates, thereby causing the creation to be alike to them? Say, Allah is the creator of everything, and He is the one, the omnipotent. So this is saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is saying to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ask them, who is it that's made the heavens and the earth, right? Who is it that has done everything? So then why do you do shirk with Allah? And can a person who is blind be equal to the person that sees? So Allah is giving so many examples. Can darkness be equal to light? So Allah is giving so many examples and chances to them. And He is giving them all of these so that they may turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Verse 17, Allah sent down rain from the sky, causing the valleys to flow according to their capacity, and the flowing waters carried debris that floated on its surface. And from that which you cast into the fire, seeking adornments and other items of worth, comes a similar debris. Debris is waste matter. So there's two examples being given here. One is that the rain, when it comes down and the valleys flow with the water, and in that water there is some of it is debris, is foam that is of no use to anybody. And then also the metals that you cast into the fire, like gold and silver, to make adornments, jewelry, or household items. And then the debris comes out. The real gold, the silver comes, and then there's debris, which is of no use to anybody. So the verse says, thus does Allah cite examples of the truth and falsehood. As for the debris, it disappears in vain. As for the things that benefit man, they remain upon the earth. In this manner, Allah cites examples. Allah has given these two examples of debris, waste matter, and the example is of truth and falsehood, kufr. So it's saying that the kufr will never benefit. It's like the debris; it will never benefit that person, right? Although it might look, when it's flowing in the water, it might look vibrant, right? It might look like something, but it's useless and it's worthless to people. Nobody can benefit from it. So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the examples of. Verse 18, heaven, Jannah, is for those who are obedient to Allah. As for those who do not obey Allah, if they possess whatever is on earth and the like thereof with it, they will certainly ransom their souls with it. So he's saying that Jannah is for those who are obedient to Allah. As for those who do not obey Him, if they possess whatever is on earth and the like thereof with it, they will certainly ransom their souls from it. That means when they get to Allah and to free themselves, if they had the whole earth and they were to give that for ransom, and then they had another earth that they could give to ransom for their souls, they would certainly want to give it. For them shall be an evil reckoning, and their abode shall be hell. What an evil abode indeed. So this is an example of truth and falsehood in these verses. Verse 19. Can the person who knows that whatever is revealed to you from your Lord is the truth be like him who is blind? Only the people of intelligence take heed. Those who fulfill the pledge taken with Allah and do not breach the covenant. Those who join that which Allah has commanded that it be joined, who fear their Lord and dread a woeful reckoning. Those who exercise patience, seeking the pleasure of their Lord, establish salah, spend secretly and openly from that which we have provided, and expel evil with good. These are the ones who shall enjoy the favorable outcomes of the hereafter. Eternal gardens in which they will enter together with all those of their forefathers, spouses, and progeny who are worthy. And the angels shall come to them from every door. The angels will be saying, Peace be upon you for the patience that you exercise. How blissful is the outcome of the hereafter. So this is talking about the people, the qualities of those people who fulfill their pledge to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the pledge which we took with Allah before coming into this world. And then it's going into their qualities. And then it says that they will enter Jannah with their people, with their forefathers, their grandparents, their great grandparents, their spouses, their progeny, their grandchildren, their great grandchildren. Everybody will enter together, and the angels will come to them from every door of Jannah, and they will be say, peace be to you, peace be to you, for all the patience that you exercise in the world. And how beautiful, how beautiful and how blissful is the outcome of the hereafter. And verse 25, those who breach Allah's pledge after ratifying it, severe that which Allah commanded that it be joined and spread corruption on earth. There shall be a curse, and there shall be misfortune in the hereafter. Allah increases sustenance for whom He pleases and straightens it. They rejoice about the life of this world, whereas the life of this world is a paltry asset in comparison to the hereafter. So this is basically we're going to go over the qualities of those people who fulfill their pledges. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that they they fulfill their pledge to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's their first quality. Right? So people of intelligence, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes on to describe the people of intelligence. And then He says that they fulfill their pledges. And who are these people? So the first one, those who fulfill the pledge taken with Allah and do not breach the covenant. They don't break the covenant, right? So that's their first quality. Then the second one is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's second description is that they are the intelligent ones. And third is those who join that which Allah has commanded them to join. Whatever Allah has commanded them to join, they join it. For example, maintaining family ties, or being good and cordial towards the believers and towards all the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they join what Allah has asked them to join. And number four is maintaining, they are, the number four is they are good towards the believers, right? Towards all of the believers. And number five is that they fear the Lord and dread a woeful reckoning. So this is coming the verse that they fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have taqwa, and they fear what is to come. They fear the scales of justice, and they fear the 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 day that which will come for everybody, the day of reckoning. Right. And Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha once asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what is the meaning of an easy reckoning? He replied, an easy reckoning means that the record of deeds will merely be glanced at and the person forgiven. O Aisha, the one whose record is scrutinized will be destroyed. This is a hadith from Mishkat. So Aisha radiallahu anha once asked, what does an easy hisab mean? Right? On the day of judgment, what does an easy hisab mean? So the Prophet ﷺ said that it means that their records will just be glanced at. That means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will just glance at them. They won't be looked into it at detail, and then said, okay, you can go. We've forgiven you, you can go. So the person whose records will be scrutinized, that is the person who will be in trouble. So number six, the sixth quality of the intelligent ones is those who exercise patience, seeking the pleasure of their Lord. So patience is of three kinds. The first is patiently persevering difficulties. When you have a difficulty, and you patiently go through it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At that moment, you say that, I will have patience for Allah, right? It's no use having patience afterwards, because everybody can have patience afterwards. People say, "Oh, I had to have so much patience afterwards." Patience is at the moment that it happens, and this is very difficult. The second entails carrying out all Allah's commandments. So to carry out Allah's commandments also requires patience, because to go to pray, for example, at the masjid 5 times a day, or even to pray in your home and you're busy with all your household duties, that requires patience. So that's the second type of patience. And the third type of patience is abstinence from disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So staying away from sins, that requires patience too, because you have to have a lot of patience in doing that. So these are three types of um, patience that Allah will recognize when people go into Jannah. Right. And so, what's the difference between the patience that a kafir has and a patience a Muslim has? The difference is that a Muslim will have patience, will exercise patience for Allah's pleasure, right? And that, therefore, you'll be rewarded for it. Because supposing somebody is going through major sickness, like someone's going through cancer, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put that person, whether he's a believer or a disbeliever, they both have to exercise a level of patience to go through it. But what's the difference between these two? The difference will be that the Muslim will do it so that they to please Allah. He'll say, I will have patience because Allah knows this is happening, and this is something that Allah is testing me with, and I will have patience for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they will get rewarded for this as well. Right, so another quality, the sixth quality is establish salah. Now it doesn't say just pray salah. When the Quran talks about it, it says they establish salah. Establish is like putting down a firm pillar, that they establish it uh, because they're so firm on it and they have guarded all of its posts. So that's what it means to establish salah. And they spend secretly and openly from that which we have provided. So these people, they spend secretly and openly. So Allah, whatever Allah has given to them, they do it openly so that other people can join in with them, and they do it secretly so that this can be only between them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? And this includes the fard and the wajib and the nafil charity that we do. Right, number 8 is they expel the evil with good. So they expel the evil with good. So when evil reaches them, they change it into, they try to expel it with good. They still give out good. Doesn't mean they give out evil for evil. They try to give out uh, good. And they try to forgive the aggressor without vengeance. Right. And I read a hadith, Sayyidina Abu Hurairah narrates that the Prophet said that Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam asked Allah, which of your servants are most honored in your sight? Allah replied, he who forgives despite possessing the ability to avenge himself. This is a hadith from Mishkat. So who is the most honorable person? The one who forgives despite having the power to take revenge. Right? So even though that person has the power, they choose to forgive. So these are all the qualities of the intelligent ones. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in these verses. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes on to say that all of them will enter Jannah with their families, with their progeny, and the angels will come to them from every door of Jannah and say, Salam, Salam to you for all the patience that you had in this world. So and how blissful is the outcome of the hereafter. So having patience in this life, and everybody is suffering, right? You will come to realize this, that if you look around you, everybody is suffering. Some people just put a very good face on it, right? Some people put a face on it that looks very pleasant. Some people hide it well. Some people they don't discuss, so that you will not know. But everybody in this world is suffering, and that's the nature of this world, right? Some people there is outward suffering. Things are happening. It's external to them, and they're suffering like this. But other people, they are suffering inside. Right? Maybe they are melancholy inside. They feel sad inside. They have anxiety. They have depression. And this is a very big suffering too. So everybody is suffering, and we will get out of this life. Our suffering will end when we die. When we die, that suffering, the moment we die, that suffering of this life is over. And inshallah, if we have done well and Allah has guided us and Allah is happy with us, then our blissful life will begin as soon as we die. So this is why this life is a very short life, and our life to come is eternal life. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps on telling us in the Quran. Verse 27. The disbelievers say, why is a sign not revealed to him from his Lord? Say, Allah sends astray whom he wills and guides towards him whoever turns to him. Those who believe and whose hearts are content with the remembrance of Allah, behold, hearts are contented with the remembrance of Allah. Right? Those who believe and do good deeds, for them shall be good fortune and a grand abode. In a like manner have we sent you among a nation before which many nations have passed, so that you may recite to them that which we have revealed to you, whilst they disbelieve in the most merciful. Say, He is my Lord, there is no deity besides Him, only on Him do I rely, and towards Him do I turn. So here, the disbelievers, they were asking for signs. Right? They used to always come to the Prophet ﷺ and they would ask for miracles, and they would say, we're not going to believe you until you give us these miracles. They wanted things to come out of the sky for them. They wanted the earth to open up. They wanted cities to appear. They wanted mountains to be removed. And these were the things that they kept asking for. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that Allah saying, say to them, Allah sends astray whom He wills and guides towards Him whoever turns to Him. So Allah is the one who gives hidayah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who turns hearts away from Him as well. And then the next verse, verse 28, is those who believe and whose hearts are contented with the remembrance of Allah. Behold, hearts are contented with the remembrance of Allah. If you want happiness in this world, if you want to live in bliss, if you want to live in the modern term is Zen, if you want to live in a state of peace and happiness, then you have to cultivate a life of remembrance. It can't happen without it. There's no other way. If you want to have that peacefulness in this life, you want to, okay, you don't want great things in this life, you don't have many expectations, but you're saying that minimum I would like that I be happy and content. Every morning I wake up and I can get through the day in a state where I feel good, my mind feels good, I feel at ease, right? There isn't that bubbling and boiling of the kettle inside. Then you have to cultivate a life of remembrance. You have to bring in the Quran, you have to bring in the dhikr, you have to focus on your salah, you have to make a routine that is supersedes all your other routines. Your routine of prayer is above all the other routines, because if you examine our routines today, which one is more important? Right? Which one is more important? Is it the work routine is more important, the children's routine is more important, the household family routine is more important? Which one is more important? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse is saying that if you want to have the peace of Allah, then you're going to have to do this. You have to, your love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to supersede everything else. Verse 31. If the Quran was such that mountains are displaced by it, or the earth is split asunder by it, or the dead are made to speak by it, then too they will not believe. However, all matters rest with Allah. So even if the Quran, if you were showing them these miracles that the earth became, if you were showing them all of these miracles that the earth was split by it, or the dead were made to speak by it, still these people will find another excuse and they wouldn't believe. So it says, however, all matters rest with Allah. Have the believers not become despondent when they know that if Allah willed, He would have guided all of mankind. Because of their evil deeds, some calamity will always afflict the disbelievers or descend close to their homes until Allah's promise comes. Undoubtedly, Allah does not break the promise. So this is about it says that Abdullah ibn Umayyah and Abu Jahl once said to the Prophet ﷺ that if he wished that they follow him, he should use the Quran to cause the mountains of Makkah to be displaced and sent to another place so that Makkah could be larger. He also requested that he cause the rivers and springs to gush forth from the earth so that they may be able to farm. So these are the things that they were asking for. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, even if the Quran were to be able to do that, they still wouldn't believe you. In addition, they mentioned the Prophet that he had told them how the mountains were subjugated to Prophet Dawood salam, and the wind was subservient to Prophet Sulaiman salam. They therefore asked that the wind be brought to their service so that it would enable them to travel to Sham for trade and return the same day. And then they said that Isa salam could cause the dead to speak, right? That's why all these things are mentioned in the verse. So therefore they said that he should also cause one of their forefathers to rise from the grave so that they could ask him whether Islam was a true religion. So they were asking for ridiculous things. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that even if that was to happen, it's nothing is ba'id for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, still they wouldn't believe. So verse 32, numerous messengers before you were mocked at, but I granted respite to disbelievers, and then I seized them. How severe was my retribution! Can he who is aware of the deeds of every soul be like him who is not like this? And they ascribe partners to Allah, saying, name them, and name the partners. Are you informing Allah of something that He has no knowledge of on earth, or merely by apparent words? However, the plot of the disbelievers have been beautified for them, and they forbid from the path. There is no guide for him whom Allah has sent astray. They shall suffer punishment in this world, and the punishment of the hereafter is worse. There shall be no savior for them from Allah. The condition of the heaven, Jannah, that is promised to the pious is that of rivers flowing beneath it. The fruits and shade of heaven, Jannah, will be permanent. This is the outcome of those who adopt piety, taqwa, while the outcome of the disbelievers shall be the fire. Those whom we have given the book rejoice at what has been revealed to you, whilst there are some from the groups who reject a part thereof. Say, I have been commanded to worship only Allah and not just find partners to Him. To Him do I call, and to Him will I return. Thus have we revealed it as a special Arabic command. Surely, if you follow their whims and knowledge has come to you, you should have no helper, no savior against Allah. So this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to tell them that if you think that Allah has partners, then why don't you name them? You should tell us what they are, right? So this is a conversation with those people who don't believe. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying about heaven again, that this is Allah is constantly reminding us of Jannah. Like if you look in the Quran, there are descriptions of Jannah everywhere. Why? Why there's so many descriptions? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew that we're living on this earth and we will need it because this life is hard, right? This life is very difficult, and so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put so many descriptions in here that if we continuously read the Quran, if we're reading it every day and we're reading all these descriptions, then it will build that iman and it will let us know that we have another place to go to. This is not our real life. Verse 38, verily we have sent many messengers before you, and we granted them wives and progenies. And the reason this is being said in this verse is because the kuffar came to the Prophet and they said, you have many wives, how can you have wives and be a prophet? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that we sent many messengers, like Prophet Dawud alayhi salam, Sulaiman alayhi salam, they had many wives. So Allah is saying that there's nothing, it's not a contradiction to have a family and to be a prophet. So Allah saying in this verse 38, we have verily we have sent many messengers before you, and we granted them wives and progenies. A messenger is not able to produce a sign without Allah's order. So this is telling them that a messenger, a Rasul, cannot do their own miracles. The miracle has to come from Allah. Every period had written commands. And then verse 39, Allah effaces what He wills and establishes what He wills. With Him is the mother of books. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives different sharias and He takes out, when He brings a new sharia, maybe He'll take some things out from the other sharia, He'll change it around. And this is up to Allah what He does. And He says He has a mother of books. Right? So the mother of the books is the book that He has, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has in Lawh Mahfuz. Verse 40, if we were to show you some of the promises that we made to them, or we were to claim your soul, then propagation would be your responsibility and reckoning ours. That means it's only for you, O Prophet ﷺ, you only have to give the message. That's your responsibility. It's not your responsibility to make them believe. You have to convey the message and we will do the hisab. So don't worry about it. 41. Do they not see that we have been reducing the earth from its borders? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been reducing the earth from its borders. Allah commands, and there is none to avert His command, and He is swift in reckoning. Those before them have plotted, but to Allah does all plotting belong. He knows what every soul earns, and the disbelievers will soon come to know to whom belongs the outcome of the hereafter. The disbelievers say, you are not a messenger. Say, Allah is sufficient as witness between us, and so are those who possess the knowledge of the book. The Prophet ﷺ is being told in here that, in this whole surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned so many of the signs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned all of the signs, and then He's telling Prophet ﷺ that they come to you and they're asking for this miracle and that miracle, but you have to know that your job is just to preach to them, and whether they believe or not is not your worry, right? Allah will do the hisab of that. Allah will do the reckoning. And number two, it is Allah who is the one who turns hearts towards Him, or He turns them away from Him. So that power lies with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And whatever they come and tell you, right, whatever the disbelievers they come and tell you and they argue about, then you do not need to worry about it. So this is at that time when the kuffar of Makkah and Medina, they used to come and they didn't want to believe, so they would come and they would talk about all of these things. This is a reference to that. Right. And when it mentions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala effaces what He wills and establishes what He wills, so it's saying here that this is a mention that in Allah's records, right, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes the sins away because of their repentance, so He erases them. So even in our record books, our sins can be erased. And um, Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas said that the good and evil deeds of people are effaced from the account of deeds recorded by the angels. Right, and Sayyidina Hassan radiallahu interprets the verse by saying that on the night of Qadr, Allah effaces the names of those who are to die in the ensuing year. So on the night of Qadr, it says that those people who are going to die in the coming year, this is why the Qadr night is so important in Ramadan, that those people who are going to die in the coming year, their leaves drop from the records, right? If you can imagine it, that their leaves drop off the tree because they're not going to live in the world for, beyond that year. So their leaves drop down. Right, and the verse, the surah ends, it says that the disbelievers say, "You are not messengers." Say, "Allah is sufficient as witness between us, and so are those who possess the knowledge of the book." So the rejection of the disbelievers kuffar will not affect the prophethood of the Prophet ﷺ. Allah is a sufficient witness. The people of Allah, Ahlul Kitab, are also well aware of the fact that the Holy Prophet ﷺ was the final messenger to man because they learned this from their scriptures. So this is a message primarily to the Prophet ﷺ first, and then to the entire ummah. So this surah was about a lot of the signs of Allah, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has talked about the intelligent ones. Who are the intelligent ones? And pointed out 9 qualities of those who are intelligent, and amongst them are those who keep their um, oaths, and they establish the prayer and the join that Allah has told them to join. The 9 qualities which have been mentioned, and there are descriptions of Jannah in this surah too. It's a very beautiful surah, and like we mentioned last week, that when we have a storm and we hear the thunder and the lightning, then this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a sign for us that we remember Allah. That's why there's du'as to read, there's du'as for thunder, there's du'as for rain, so that we can have the benefits of these, and they don't become a punishment for us. So we're going to end with that. Alhamdulillah. This is Surah Raad. Read over the translation yourself, inshallah. And when we come to the verses where Allah is asking you to contemplate on the skies and the earth and the mountains and the rivers and everything that is praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then pause for a while and look and think about these things, that everything is praising Allah and everything has a time to praise Allah. Right? The birds will praise at their time, the trees praise at their time, everything is worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then who are we as humans who benefit the most in this world? Right? We benefit from everything the most. Everything has been created for us, and we benefit the most. And how is it that we can neglect the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the remembrance of Allah? And Allah has even put an incentive in it for us, that when we remember Allah, then our hearts will become tranquil. And whatever is happening in the world, whatever test paper you have been given, and everybody's been given a different test paper, so don't compare. Don't compare your test paper with anybody else's test paper. What this means is, don't compare yourself with others. Don't think, oh, this person has this and I didn't get this and I didn't get that. And why does this person always have it good and I don't have it good? Don't compare with others, number one. Number two, know that your test paper is very different, because you are very different. Your level might be very different from other people's. And persevere with the patience Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to have, that patience for Allah, and keep reading the Quran so that you can be reminded of what Allah wants you to know. Because when you look into the Quran and you read the verses, then you know it's a conversation. Like we read in this surah, Allah is telling us about Jannah. Allah is telling us about those people who have patience. And so keep reading the Quran so that you will be able to deal with life's challenges, number one. And number two, you will find a level of peace and tranquility. Even if you don't have too many expectations in this world, and we should have zero expectations of this world. But the minimum we say is that at least let us live so that we can live with a level of peace and tranquility, right? That's what we want. So we can have this if we cultivate a life of remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what the very big theme of this surah is, that everything is praising Allah. We should be doing it too. And if we want to be happy in this world, if we want to find peace in this world, then we have to remember Allah all the time. And this will come through all our different forms of worship. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq, hidayah to do lots and lots of ibadah in lots of different ways to make him happy. And may he make it very important for us to cultivate that life and that lifestyle, which is all about worshipping Allah and pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep. And that's what all our efforts are for. right? And every breath is being spent in that to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May He make us those people, may He join us with those people, may He give us the sohbah of those people, and may He make us rise up with those people who He is happy with, inshallah. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.